Hey guys, it's Noah and
Heidi. Hey.
the whole family, the whole crew is here. So we decided to do this together. We have not been given a fair trial in Prescott court. This started with our landlord, 2051 Apartments. It was a luxury apartment. Heidi and I's plan when we moved to Prescott was to go in, live in that luxury apartment. It was a nicer apartment complex in the town. I grew up there when I was a kid. And to stack money, save money, so that we could buy our own house. It's been since our Luke house that we were able to buy a house.
Since we lived in Phoenix.
Yeah, since we lived in Phoenix. We lived over by the west side, Cardinal Stadium. Let's pray. Father God, we come before you. We thank you. We praise you. We bless you. We love you. We exalt you. We lift this up to you. Help us tell the truth. And speak clearly. Have clarity. In Jesus Christ's mighty name. All right. So, basically, we moved into that apartment. We were saving chips. We were going to go buy a house. When we moved in, they had a big... the bird poop was stacked up on the back, which was no big deal. But there was like bird poop on the back patio that they had a, what was it, sprinkler out there? Like a fire sprinkler?
Fire.
And the birds would like perch up there and they were pooping, right? So this will make sense later. But basically we moved in. The lady was weird when we first moved in, but we literally didn't have any other choice.
Yeah.
We had just gotten back from our mission trip. Now, about a week after within a week of us first moving in, our refrigerator went out. I was the facilities director up in Flagstaff at the largest student housing development. You guys can go look at my resume. It's on noahsmightymen.com. You can see all the stuff we did, what my company did, my position. My wife's a doctor.
I'm a veterinarian.
Yep, veterinarian, DVM. And we moved in there, and it's humbling, man, but we sold everything we had. We literally gave everything we had away. And it was like from the day one that we moved in there, those people treated us like we were poor scumbags, right?
Yeah.
Like the entire time. That's what, we got an older car, and we just gave all of our money to go, do missionary work, man. That's what we did. We didn't understand what was going on, what was happening when we moved in here, but I just found the paperwork from everything that had happened, and I have the video. I showed this to Padilla, that judge. I tried to, and he wouldn't allow me to show any of the stuff. He claimed, there's stuff that... This was before deep fakes were really coming out. Sora had not been released to the public yet. This was in 2024. But he was like, they can do all kinds of stuff, which is just like a total BS reason to not look at our evidence. He didn't want to look at our evidence. But these people were hostile from the day we moved in. And the reason is we were under 24-hour surveillance there, and we didn't know about it. Stop it, baby. We didn't know that we were under 24-hour surveillance. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to have the kids go in the other room for a second. All right, sorry, we had to get the kids set up with some snacks and stuff. I don't know exactly where we were at, but basically after we moved into this place, there were several things wrong. The water heater had not been flushed. For some reason, it had been months, dude. 6 months, a year since I don't know how long it had been sitting there, but that unit had to have been vacant for an extremely long period of time. There was mold filled up in the water heater. Okay? Now, when we first got there, usually those water heaters too, you're supposed to go flush those. Regular maintenance detail calls for that, right? Not only that, somebody had stuffed a bunch of straws down the sink, and the sink was backing up, and I think it was the dishwasher wasn't working too because the sink was backed up. It wasn't properly draining. which was there. And then we had this refrigerator, and the refrigerator unit that it was the type of refrigerator it is. There's different refrigerator types, but the type that this was, it has one unit and there's like a trap door that goes from the freezer to the refrigerator. And this trap door opens when the fridge starts getting hot and releases cool air down into the refrigerator. It has a thermometer in the fridge, and then that trap door shuts when it comes to the right temperature. That's how majority of these are like the best designed fridges that you can get, because they're super simple to work on and everything else, right? It's real easy. It's literally just a fan and this little trap door. There's just a couple of parts. They're easy to fix, they're easy to service, and they're easy to replace if they go bad. You go look at my website. That's one of the things that we offered was appliance repair, right? I was certified in this for appliance repair up on the mountain in the White Mountains, and actually that was like my main business was appliance repair up there after I got done being a facilities director. We're signed on with Home Depot, everything else to do that through their pro referral program, etc. Okay, so we go there. We put in the order for the poop, and we put in the order to fix the fridge because the fridge kept going out. I pulled the panel the first time on the freezer, and I diagnosed it. And what was wrong was the fan motor was breaking. And what happens is those motors burn out over time, and then it's like you got to replace the fan motor, or you're going to lose everything in your fridge. If you lose your freezer, you lose your fridge too. It's the entire unit. It's not just either or, and that's what was happening, right? And I fixed it. I put in the work order properly, the work order request through 2051 Apartments. They never came by and fixed it. I ended up servicing it myself because our stuff started thawing out and defrosting.
Yeah,
right?
we lost milk first. And
We lost a whole thing of milk.
And I was like, Noah, help! This is bad.
So I fixed it. I pulled it, and my stuff is going bad in my thing. Then we also put in the work order request for the clogged sink. Whoever it was that was there before had plastic straws, and they were stuck in the P-trap. And I pulled the P-trap. It was no big deal, but I pulled all that stuff out, and I fixed the fridge. Basically what you do is you pull that panel off. You can defrost it. I made sure it wasn't frosted over. That's not what was going on. The little fan motor was burning out. So I spun it real good. I made sure it was lubricated up properly so that we would get a little bit more life out of it. And I told them what was going on. I said, this needs a new fan in this fridge. They didn't like that. They didn't like that I was telling them hey, this is what's going on. These are our maintenance requests. They weren't doing the maintenance request. The guys they had two jokers on the job site. It was these two guys that were there. And that was basically it, right? And so and then they didn't fix the sink, so I ended up pulling the P-trap, fixing it myself. I didn't really care.
Yeah, the sink was out for a while. We didn't use that sink for a really long time.
I didn't use it.
No, it was finally okay.
I was all right, I'm just going to do it myself. It takes me 5 minutes to pull the P-trap or whatever, right? And so I pulled the stuff, and I went in the front office. We were right next to the front office. It's hey, this is the stuff that was stuck in here. It's no big deal. I got it. You guys don't need to fulfill this thing. And they got all nasty with me because I went in there and I told them, hey, I did it myself, basically. Yeah. We're paying you rent for this stuff. I wasn't rude at all. I was very nice, but that's what happened, right? I go in and I tell them that. So then I spun the little fan. We got the thing got working again. I had the standing work order request in there. The maintenance guy comes out to the house, and he's all angry with me, and he was drunk. He smelled like booze. He comes into the house. He was all angry with me, and I'm yeah, okay, well, I'll get to it tomorrow, whatever. And I was well, dude, this, it's going out. This is going out. We're going to lose all of our stuff if this freezer goes out. We had just gone to the store. Mm-hmm. We bought about $500 worth of groceries. Anybody who's living right now knows that groceries are extremely expensive. And the way Heidi and I buy our groceries is we buy everything in bulk. Mm-hmm. All of our meat, all of that, and we stick it in the freezer. And we do our meals planned out over a long day. We have a large family. This is how we operate.
Yeah. And we make everything from home. We eat out like super rarely.
Yeah.
So
We don't eat out anymore because the board, right? So that's what we did. So then we opened that up, right? So then...
So he says, yeah, well...
Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. Yeah, right. 12 o'clock in the afternoon rolls by to the next day. And I go down and I sit in the thing. And I'm like, guys, when are you going to get to this? I'm going to lose my... Oh, and I forgot to tell you. They told me when I went and showed them that stuff from the P-trap. They said, don't touch another thing in the apartment. Mm-hmm. If you do this, you could be in breach of your contract. We could charge you money. You're responsible, all this other stuff. And they threatened me. So they're not fixing the stuff in our apartment, but then they're threatening me not to fix it myself. And like, I got a family. We're going through this, and now you're going to cause me to lose $400 or $500 worth of groceries, and we're trying to like get set up here so that we can save up money, right? So this is what happened. I go into the office and I have that video. I will drop that video. I recorded everything. I record everything to make sure that we document everything that happens. Mm-hmm. When I go into the office, the two guys that are there immediately start like a fight with me when they're there, and they're liquored up. And they're liquored up on the job. They reeked of booze, right? I told all of this to Judge Padilla. I tried to explain what was happening. He wasn't hearing what I was saying. He didn't care. He was pushing it through. And I understand why now, too, because this paperwork that I found. After that happened, after those guys basically got in my face, he threatened me and he assaulted me, getting in my face, I showed it to the cops. The cops sided with me. Officer Reed came out. And the guy that arrested me at Walmart was one of the cops that came out with that Officer Reed. I forget his name. It was Officer Reed and the guy from Walmart that arrested me, that assaulted me when they said I trespassed at Walmart when I didn't, right? He twisted my wrist up. When I wasn't resisting arrest or anything. I showed him the video. They sided with me. They calmed the whole situation down, etc., etc.
They came by what? At some point they came by with a new refrigerator. Somebody came by.
Yeah. So well, after that whole thing happened and it got calmed down, I said, you guys need just go switch a refrigerator from the other unit.
Yeah.
See, when I was a facilities director, that's what we would do. We'd get an empty unit so that we would buy time. And if there was a working refrigerator in another unit that's adjacent, there was a bunch of empty units at the apartments at that time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, take a break from your beer chugging session and go get your dolly and haul me over one of these fridges so I don't lose $500 worth of my groceries while you're sitting here trying to jack me, dude.
Yeah, like it's not
you know
hard.
what I mean?
Just do it real quick. Done.
So that's basically what happened, right? And then I went down to file a order of protection against these guys because I didn't want to have trouble with them. They kept getting in my face. They were messing with us. Somebody broke into my apartment when I wasn't there. When I tried to report that bird poop problem, what do you remember? I said bird perp. Bird perps, that's what they are. They're bird perps.
So the bird poop thing, we were really just wanting, we just couldn't clean it because we needed a hose or something to like hose it off with.
Yeah, and you're in an apartment.
Yeah,
there's no hose bib. There was a hose bib around the corner, but they got access to it and they were being weird.
And there's not a hose or anything. So we were just like, well, hey, do you guys have like any way to like get water over here? So that's all we were asking for. So the email, we did the work order for it, and then the emails that came through from that were them saying, well, no, there wasn't poop there because you guys should have put that on your original paperwork and blah, blah, blah. Basically trying to cover up their butts, saying that they were more worried about, like, the fact that it could be there when we got checked in, basically.
Yeah,
no, it wasn't there at all.
It was like they were
but
gearing up for a fight against us, and I didn't understand why we were like these enemies against them from the beginning, like how they thought of us that way. It didn't make sense to us, but it makes perfect sense now.
The other thing I wanted to bring up that goes along with this is I had gone to the office. This is when we very first moved in. I was doing extra paperwork. And it was like paperwork that she was waiting on for me to get to her. It was like 2 or 3 days later after, it was probably 2 weeks, honestly, after we moved in. She was waiting on paperwork for me. When I went in, I hadn't been there. There's no reason for any of my stuff to be pulled up on her or anything like that. She basically already knew that I was coming. It was like really creepy.
Wait. You didn't explain that right.
Okay.
She was waiting for Heidi.
I had paperwork that I needed to give to the office manager.
There. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. She was in the apartment. Okay. Heidi has paperwork. It's sitting there.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go give this paperwork to Shauna. That was her name. I'm gonna go do this now. Okay, I've got it. I'm gonna go now. And
we were right next to the office.
And I walk over to the office, and all of a sudden, like when I walk in, she's all, oh, hey, lets me into her office. Hey, what can I do for you? But she like already had everything pulled up and ready for me. Like it was like open. Like my file was open. Right.
So if you don't understand what this alludes to is that we were being monitored and surveilled by Shauna Maris.
Yeah, and how would she know that?
The lady from San Francisco, who I believe has some kind of ties to Palantir. Now, here's what I know. I know that DHS has been doing an illegal surveillance operation on my family. I think that we were targeted when we moved in there, and that was the reason for all of the hostility. I know that they've gone around and they've badmouthed us to all kinds of people. They've had us, got us isolated from our community. These people are very good at what they do, and if they threaten and intimidate and push the right buttons on people, people just distance themselves from us because they don't want to be a part of what's going on. They don't want to we're in weird times, man. It says this in the Bible. It says that mothers will turn on fathers, will turn on sons, will turn on, this. It says that this is what happens. So, and it's from stuff like this. Right? It's the Richard Wurmbrand stuff. And what happened is I think that these people were illegally surveilling me. Well, I know they were. I went and tried to file an order of protection. This paperwork just popped up in our desk here, and I just saw it. I filled out all the paperwork correctly 2 separate times for the City of Prescott Court to file an order of injunction against those two maintenance guys, the porters that were there at 2051 Apartments. It got all the way through. I have the copies of the paperwork still. I showed this to the judge. He wasn't listening to any of this stuff. He pushed it through. We tried to state all of this stuff. How much of this did he actually listen to? I don't even remember because he told me, oh, you're just a victim. That's when we started telling him all this stuff that had happened to us, he said, well, I think you're just a victim.
Just a victim then.
I said, "Oh no, I'm not. I'm more than a conqueror through Christ who strengthens me." Right? Yeah. And a sword cut the entire courtroom when it happened.
It was dead silent after that. It was like.
But straight up, I have the paperwork here. Except, here's the thing: it didn't go through on 2 separate occasions. We even went down to the courthouse in person. Told them we want this injunction filed against these people. This is what's going on. And I don't even remember what she gave us a BS excuse. Well, you're going to have to file it online. This is the only way to do it. I said, no, you can go down to the courthouse and file an injunction against somebody. She said, no, you got to go through our court process. You got to go through our online portal to do this. So this AI unit that their Flock software was running, that was trying to build a case against me and my family, trying to stack up bogus charges and doing all this stuff against my family, illegally surveilling us, run through the Department of Homeland Security, through Palantir, because they know who I am. They know what our ministry did. They know the power that we have in prayer. And their Flock security cameras rejected the order of protection against these people on 2 separate occasions when we went down to the courthouse. And then they lied when we went down there. The same clerk that was messing around, that I've recorded several times messing around, I know which lady it is, was the one that said, no, you need to go file that paperwork online. Well, how can I file that paperwork online if your AI software that you're running behind the scenes is rejecting all of my orders of protection? This was prior to all the stuff that happened up there. This was prior to everything that happened at the courts and everything that happened at 2051 Apartments. Okay, this was a military operation of a private sector military operation. That's what Palantir does. They target people. Okay, and the reason is because we outed the heavy hitters in the sex trafficking arena. And when we pray, their adrenochrome supply gets hit. When we pray, people get found out. I've already named the senators and stuff that were involved with this stuff that's this. I wouldn't say it's a conspiracy. It's like what did that guy from Kentucky say? He said it. He said it's a convergence of. Oh, I don't know. A convergence of. I don't know what he said, but basically it's like a sweet way of talking about a conspiracy, right? So this is it, man. I have it here. I have the injunction of harassment. I have all the paperwork filled out. And then when we submitted it, it said, no, it won't take it. It did it on 2 separate occasions. I have the guy's name. The entire, everything that happened there, right? Prior to all of that stuff happening. Now, on one of the occasions when these perps were doing this stuff to us, when that kid that was up there that gave you the googly eyes, he would tell them what he did.
I had just had David. I think David was a month old, and
Theodore Feldman.
Theodore Feldman, and we got back from we went to Laughlin or something I don't remember what we were just having fun. We went out for.
We went to go look for a house.
Oh yeah, that's what we were doing. But anyways, we had just gotten back from a trip like that.
We were up in Bullhead.
So we were. I've got 3 kids now, and I'm trying to get them all out of the car, and I mean a month postpartum. Come on, guys, like I'm sure I looked exhausted. And he makes this I
wasn't even there.
Yeah, well, you had just crossed the street with.
I was unloading groceries. I was in the house.
Unloading stuff. And you were headed back, and you were going to help me, and, it was like, hey, stay here, I'll go get the kids out, we're just figuring all that. Anyways, he's there, he's getting out of his car, and I don't even know, I was like, I don't know who he is, didn't see him, I wasn't there for any of the stuff that happened between him and Noah, so I don't know any dude from
You were there when he when he beat on the door, knocked on the door.
I was there, but
two separate times.
Yeah, but I didn't see his face. Anyways, doesn't matter. I figured that it was him because there was soccer stuff on his car. He got out of his car and looked at me and went, hey, like that.
And blew kisses at her.
Yeah.
So you didn't realize that was the same guy that was messing with me up on the mountain. You didn't realize that was the same guy at that time?
Yeah.
That beat on the door?
Then I figured, but I didn't know, for sure. And then I checked with you, and I was like, hey, is that his car? And you were like, yeah, that's his car. I'm like, hey, that's the dude. He just did that.
Yeah, so he's blowing kisses at my wife.
Yeah,
who just
had
a baby.
Also filed the paperwork against him for that, but, we were like,
Now, when the cops came in there, what did they do? The first thing they wanted to do when they came up, because they had their mind made up. And that night, this is how I know that this is some kind of Flock software thing. Because most of it was heavily redacted. The stuff that the city prosecutor pulled up on me. They pulled up charges on me against that Theodore Feldman guy for disorderly conduct, is what they said. When the guy harassed me 3 nights in a row, and then on the 3rd night I confronted him about it. I didn't hit him. I didn't do anything. I just told him, we're going to do it. We're going to do this thing if you don't back off and stop messing with me like this, right? Then he's blowing kisses to my wife afterwards, after this happened. After he told the cops, everything else, right? He's going and antagonizing my wife. So this is what happened, right? Anyways.
Yes, that
the
night. The
cops came out that night. The videos are heavily... Hold on. The videos are heavily redacted. But one of the things that came through was the cops pulling up who I was on their computer. And they pulled up a charge that happened when I was 15 years old as a juvenile. I've already stated this for the record, that all those charges got dropped. I was never convicted of that. The charges were dropped. They were thrown out. I did my community service hours because my mom made me do them because she was trying to teach me a lesson, And it was down when we lived in Phoenix. We had moved down from Prescott. So the charges were thrown out. So that means they already had a file set up on me.
Beyond that, it was for a tiki-tack thing, and that it was for a 4th of July parade, or 4th of July.
I understand it, honey. Let me
but
figure.
it's important because it's not like you were a bad kid that did something really wrong.
Yeah, I know. It was like I stepped out into the street and squirted a squirt gun at somebody, and a cop was standing there and wrote me a chicken scratch ticket. Yeah, and that's what it was. Yeah. I stepped in the street at the water fights. I was 15 years old. I didn't get in trouble with the cops. Right, I stepped in the street, one foot into the street, the guy wrote me a ticket. All the tickets in Prescott got thrown out. And somehow that thing from my record got pulled up when these guys pulled me up on their computer, and they had their mind made up before they even did. So then they come in, and what was the first thing that they did when they came to the apartment?
They immediately started trying to ask me to double check your story, basically. They immediately asked me, well, how loud was this knock on the door? Because Noah had said, like, he was banging on the door. So they're asking me, they're basically making me, like, double check what his statement was. And, like, basically trying to tear Noah down.
What are you willing to say on oath of what happened before the Almighty God?
You came in. I mean, babe, come on. I was a week away.
Tell the truth. That's what I want, because the truth sets us free.
Listen, I was a week away from having a baby, and my brain. When the police officer asked me for my phone number, I couldn't even remember my phone number. Okay, so like that's the state that my mind was in at the time. But anyways, Noah comes in, tells me what happened, and then all of a sudden there's a huge knock at the door. It was very loud, and I was freaked, mostly because I didn't want anything to happen. I knew that we were having that baby, and like I needed Noah, and I didn't want anything to happen for any reason whatsoever. And that really. When
you say anything happened, what are you talking about? What do you mean? You mean like this guy hurting us? What do you mean?
That guy hurting us? Yes, and or anything like that. I mean, or you hurting him? I don't know. Whatever. Like you're defending.
I mean, because you're saying you're defending us, so you didn't want him to provoke me beating on the door or something, and then have a weapon, and then like it go sour or something.
Exactly.
Like we need to clarify this stuff because this is what needs to be said in front of a court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and we're not trying to handle this story craftily, but this is what happened. You were scared.
I was scared.
I came in the
house. Scared of that guy. Scared of what if that guy was going to try and hurt us, then what you would do to him, because you
unless he had a weapon. I mean, everybody's a badass until somebody pulls out a gun or a knife.
Yeah.
That's why I went to my house.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I was in my own damn house.
And we called the cops.
And we were on the phone with the cops when he's beating on the door.
Yeah.
And this has all been available to that court up there. And she only filed these charges 6 months after I didn't go and bend a knee to their phony trespassing charge. Mm-hmm. Okay? And she backlogged the docket to try to say that she had this case just sitting there the entire time with Theodore Feldman. When really what happened is she wasn't going to get her conviction because she got found out that they filed phony charges against me on this. I didn't cop a plea deal. I fought back, so now she trumped up additional bogus charges with this Theodore. What can I do to get more on him to run him through the mud? Yeah. Straight up, that's what happened. And when those cops came out, they had already had their mind made up. I have the entire thing recorded. We told them everything that happened. And what was their story? Do you remember what their story was? They said, it's your word versus theirs.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Your word versus theirs. Yeah, so if it's my word versus his word, what gave them the hard, rock solid case against Noah Taylor to now try to take me down in the court? When I was in my own house, that guy came back. After we told him, when he beat on the door, we said, we're on the phone with the police, you need to go.
Go to your own apartment. We're on the phone with the cops. Go away now.
And I had Heidi hide in the kitchen in case he had a gun. He starts shooting through the door or something like that. Yeah. And I said, go in there. And I said, we're on the phone with the police. They'll sort it out when they get here. Don't come back. 5 minutes later, the dude comes back, starts knocking on the door again.
Yeah.
Twice that Theodore Feldman guy did that.
He said I just wanted to smash it. I just wanted to,
I just wanted to squash it. And then the cops come up there. Hey, hi, buddy. High five. Yeah, hoo. Oh, yeah, okay, well, no, I got no problem with this guy. And I'm like, are you serious? This guy's been jacking me 3 nights in a row, comes down to my house. My wife is a week away from giving birth. She's 9 months pregnant. And this guy beats on my door, and they trump these charges up in the court and hide a grave and falsely arrest me when I report all this stuff and all of that. And on top of that, this apartment complex is doing some kind of weird surveillance on us that's going on. And when I try to report it to the same court, in these court documents, they kick out the order of harassment twice. That's a family crying out for help from the justice system, and they're trying to nail us to the wall. For what? We didn't break any laws, dude. I got a clean record. I got a spotless record up until that one point. The only thing they were able to pull up on me was when I was 15 years old, dude.
For a ticky-tack charge.
For a ticky-tack charge of stepping in the street as a kid and squirting somebody with a squirt gun in a water fight. when everybody's
on a
4th of July water fight. Okay? That's their case in Prescott. I'm willing to die for this. Straight up for doing the right thing. My family is we're in, all in. Okay? There's no going back. You messed with the wrong children of God, and you're gonna pay. You're gonna go to jail, or God's gonna cut every one of you down for everything that you did. This is our testimony. We have all the evidence to support everything that we're talking about. Nothing we've said is made up. Is there anything else you want to say? This is what they did. They treated us like this, and my wife had to scramble. We had the baby in that house. She had to scramble after that because they falsely evicted us. They said that they served the eviction. They never served us with eviction paperwork. We only found out like the day before we were supposed to go to court, because we get a knock at the door and the guy hands us a piece of paper. It's not even our paperwork. It's the paperwork of a woman down in Phoenix from the same property management company owned by BlackRock and their friends, who's going through the same thing that happened to us. We read her thing. Yeah. People were breaking into her house. Yeah. We have her email. We have her paperwork still. That's what they were doing to somebody else. So it wasn't just us. Somebody else is going through this too down in Phoenix. And they accidentally served her paperwork to us that day. And we showed it to Judge Padilla. We went to the court and they said, no, we served them on 3 different. No, they didn't. They never served us with any paperwork. We never got any paperwork served to us until that day, the day before court. So I had less than 24 hours to prepare to go in and see a judge. And I still had all the evidence ready, and he threw it out because he was trying to railroad me, dude. This is what happened. This is the truth. God bless you guys. Have a good day.